We're making you stay here.
Did I just mock you?
Take me back to Oyazu. Everything up here is new. I can't stand it, just must land it.
This unsettling video comes from Urbex Mooch, a YouTube channel dedicated to urban exploration. The creator regularly ventures into abandoned and decaying locations, capturing the eerie beauty of forgotten structures. But on March 6th, 2015, things took an unexpected and tense turn. That day, Mooch and his friends set out to document an old manor house that had been left to rot for over 30 years. The building was in complete disrepair, with shattered windows, crumbling walls, and an overgrown exterior. With cameras in hand, they maneuvered past a barbed wire fence and squeezed through a gap in the boarded-up entrance. Inside, they marveled at the eerie silence, taking photos of the decayed remains. But their quiet exploration didn't last long. Out of nowhere, a deep, authoritative voice cut through the still air.
Hello. Can you come out? You're breaking into my house. Sorry. Just take some photos. Well, shall I come to your house and smash the windows in and take some photographs? Can't you read? Just keep house. I know, yeah. Sorry, we didn't mean any harm. You've damaged my fence, you've damaged that. I think it was already open, the fence. It's not open. No, that hole there. And have you arrested when the police arrive? Alright. I was only taking photos. Don't give a monkey, you've ruined my Saturday. You stay there until the police arrive.
Someone was there, and they were not happy. The voice belonged to the property owner, and he was furious that Mooch and his friend had trespassed on his land. At first, they tried to reason with him, explaining that they were only taking photos and meant no harm. But the man wasn't interested in their explanations. His anger only grew, and it quickly became clear that this was not going to be a simple misunderstanding. The situation escalated rapidly. The landowner threatened to call the police and demanded that they stay put until law enforcement arrived. When Mooch attempted to climb over a nearby fence to escape, the landowner and another individual physically blocked his way.
It's going to be a tricky one getting over. Stay there. Stay there. If you hurt yourself, I'll be liable for damage to you. We're coming over?
No.
Stay there.
Stay there.
Stay there. We don't have to stay here. We're making you stay here.
You can't make me stay here because there's...
Well, if you hurt yourself, I end up in jail. So you can't...
Well, you won't hurt yourself. I won't hurt myself. You can't do that.
You can't come in my house. Okay? Don't tell me the law. You ruined my Saturday and keep out of my house.
Well, we're sorry. We didn't mean any...
Of course you mean it hard.
Well, we're only taking photos.
It's my private house.
Sorry. They were trapped. They were being held against their will inside an abandoned house, completely at the mercy of the landowner's demands. The confrontation grew more intense as the man insisted they remain where they were, warning that if they tried to leave and got hurt, he would be held responsible, which is ironic because he pushed him down the fence, which could have easily injured them. Thankfully, despite the heated exchange, Mooch and his friend eventually made it out safely. Later, they confirmed that all charges were dropped, as the house had been abandoned for decades. What did you make of this? As always, let me know.
Before moving forward, I'll really appreciate if you would take some time to subscribe to the channel and join this amazing community. About 95% of you guys aren't subscribed. It's free, plus I got a surprise for you all once we reach 50,000 subscribers. Now, back to the video.
On February 27th, 2025, Exploring with Bear uploaded a video documenting what he describes as his scariest night camping alone. The location, referred to as Shadow Figure Forest, is an area known for strange sightings, eerie sounds, and reported Bigfoot activity. Bear's goal is to explore the location, investigate the massive structures found in the woods, and ultimately spend the night alone to see what happens once the sun goes down. However, as the night progresses, the experience turns into something far more terrifying than he expected. As Bear begins his exploration, he immediately notes the strange environment around him. The sun is setting fast, casting long shadows over the dense forest. He comes across large tree structures, twisted branches and formations resembling nests.
Right back there, first nest. This thing's insane. Look at how that, I just noticed that bark too. How it's worn, like right there. So imagine, he's walking by. Hits this. First let me show you the circle that we're standing in right now. So you see it starts, so you got your nest. Comes out down here. Wraps around. So this whole place is like a little, I don't know, it's weird. It's like circled out right here. And then you get in there and there's the nest.
As he moves deeper, he starts to feel a sense of unease, a feeling as if something is watching him. Before complete darkness sets in, Bear spots movement. A shadowy figure appears to dart behind a tree just outside the range of his flashlight. He isn't able to get a clear look, but the moment unsettles him. Then, things take a more chilling turn. While scanning his surroundings, he hears a faint whistle echo through the trees.
Is that a whistle? Snapped off. Look at the little structure over there too. And then look, this whole thing's circled. Something moved back here though. I seen two things move.
It's not the first time he has heard whistles in the woods, but this one is different. It sounds like a response to his presence. The sound is subtle but distinct, almost intelligent, as if something or someone is deliberately communicating. The darkness continues to thicken around him, and his flashlight struggles to cut through the eerie mist that settles over the area. Deciding to test the forest's reaction, he attempts a wood knock, a common method used by Bigfoot researchers to provoke a response. Almost immediately, he hears a distant guttural growl. The sound is deep, primal, and unlike anything he has ever encountered. His chest tightens with fear as the reality of being alone in this environment starts to set in. As the night deepens, Bear remains at his campsite, waiting to see if any further activity occurs. His viewers later point out that around the 7:30 timestamp, a figure can be seen moving from left to right in the reflection of the water. At the time, Bear doesn't notice it, but when reviewing the footage, the realization sends shivers down his spine. The figure is dark and humanoid, moving smoothly across the background. If Bear had noticed it in real time, he might have left the area immediately. Later in the night, around the 15:54 timestamp, another disturbing discovery is made. In the background of the footage, something appears to be swinging from a tree. The motion is subtle but unnatural, as if an unseen force is causing it to sway. The idea that something could have been hanging or even watching him from above makes the entire situation even more unsettling. The experience becomes too much to ignore. After spending hours listening to eerie sounds and witnessing unexplainable phenomena, Bear makes the decision to pack up and leave. As he starts making his way out of the forest, the feeling of being followed intensifies. Every few steps, he hears the crunch of leaves behind him, as if something is keeping pace with him in the darkness. The fear becomes overwhelming when he hears a loud snapping sound.
Ooh. What the heck was that? That was coming right up behind me. It's time to leave. Alright guys, I'm gonna cut the camera and get out of here.
At this point, survival instincts kick in. He quickens his pace, all while keeping his camera rolling, capturing the final moments of his terrifying night. Just before he reaches his vehicle, he hears another growl, this time much closer. Without hesitation, he jumps into his truck and drives away, leaving the forest and its mysteries behind. Between the unexplained whistles, shadow figures, eerie reflections, and the ominous feeling of being watched, this was, without a doubt, his scariest night camping alone. On July 5th, 2024, a video was uploaded to the YouTube channel Sarai Tuguya Energetica, documenting what appears to be one of the most chilling paranormal experiences ever captured on camera. The footage follows Sarai and her team as they explore a desolate, abandoned location in search of a rumored ghost, a child spirit said to haunt the area. What begins as a routine paranormal investigation quickly spirals into something far more unsettling, leaving both the investigators and the viewers questioning what they have just witnessed. From the moment they arrive, the eerie atmosphere is undeniable. The location is dark, desolate, and covered in overgrown vegetation, as if it had been forgotten by time. Sarai, the lead investigator, immediately senses something unusual. She calls out to the spirit, asking if it is present. The team remains silent, waiting for a response. Within seconds, strange noises begin to echo around them, whispers, rustling, and what sounds like faint, hurried footsteps. At first, they assume it might be the wind, but then the sounds grow clearer, almost deliberate. Then something happens that makes everyone freeze.
¡Sarai! ¡Ay, qué fue! ¡Ay, qué fue! ¡Qué fue! ¡Qué fue! ¡Pequeño! ¡Pequeño! ¡Sarai! ¡Ay, amigo, la Sarai! ¡Uy, uy, uy, uy! ¡Habló! No manches. Sarai, volví a mirar al pequeño, no lo miro. Uy. Sarai, grabé el niño. Oye, escucha.
Pero allá también estaba, José. Casi lo agarro, José.
En serio. Yo lo grabé aquí. Aquí lo grabé yo, amiga. Ay, no, Dios mío, amiga. Amiga, y no traes ni alcohol, nada, ¿verdad? Amiga, ocupas traer alcohol para las ocasiones ya, amiga.
Estaba buscándolo, casi, te lo juro que casi lo agarro. No sé si a lo que corrió dejó un zapato. Allá hay un zapato tirado, José.
¿Dónde?
Allá.
¿Dónde?
One of the team members swears they saw a small figure dart behind a crumbling wall. The group rushes toward the area, cameras ready, but by the time they arrive, there's nothing there. Sarai insists that she, too, saw movement, but the camera doesn't capture anything conclusive. The group begins speculating. Could it be a trick of the mind? Or did they just witness something truly paranormal? Tension rises as the investigation continues. Sarai suddenly reacts to something near an abandoned structure, claiming to have seen movement. The camera swings toward the direction she's pointing, but once again, nothing is visible on screen. The team members exchange nervous glances, their excitement now mixed with a growing unease. As they move deeper into the location, they come across an eerie discovery.
Hay que jugar, vamos a jugar, ven. Es que aquí está, pero no lo veo.
Por aquí
Aquí
se metió.
está, aquí está. Te saliste por acá. Travieso, ven.
Uy. Foca. Fue aquí.
Mano, mi amor, hay que jugar, vente.
Pequeño, ven.
Vente, mi amor. Mira, y si hay un pequeño, porque mira. Mira. Vente, corazón, vente. Te vamos a llevar a un lugar bonito. ¿Quieres ir?
A small, worn-out shoe, lying alone in the dirt. The sight of it sends a wave of chills through the team. They begin to question whether they are searching for a spirit, or if there is something more disturbing at play. Before they can process the implications, a chilling sound stops them in their tracks. A soft, high-pitched giggle echoes through the darkness. The team collectively holds their breath. It doesn't sound mechanical, nor does it resemble the usual noises of an old building settling. It sounds disturbingly real. Sarai immediately calls out, asking if the child is there. No response. Then one of the investigators stiffens. A faint voice, barely above a whisper, seems to come from behind them. The team turns around, cameras rolling, but again, there is nothing but empty shadows. As they continue, the temperature suddenly drops, and the air grows heavy with an unshakable feeling of dread. Then another voice.
Ahí está.
Vente, mi amor, vente. ¿Estás aquí solito?
Oye, está hablando.
Aquí estoy, mi amor, ven.
¿Me escucha?
Aquí está, vete.
Y no hay nada.
Pues aquí lo vimos.
A ver, atrás del muro. No, acá no hay nada.
Tampoco.
Oye,
Chiquito, ven.
oye, ¿escuchas?
Pequeño.
Aquí fue. Oh. ¿Me escuchaste?
Ven, aquí estamos. ¿Estás aquí? ¿Quién te dejó aquí solito? ¿Dónde estás?
It is unmistakably the voice of a child. The entire team hears it at the same time. It's soft, almost pleading. It takes a moment for anyone to react. Sarai calls out again, attempting to communicate, but the voice vanishes as suddenly as it appeared. An eerie silence takes over, amplifying the team's anxiety. One investigator suggests that perhaps the spirit is playing a game with them. The team continues moving cautiously, trying to make sense of what they have encountered. The group is now both thrilled and terrified. They have captured evidence, but they are also in the middle of something far beyond their understanding. The final minutes of the video are filled with rising tension. Sarai attempts one last time to communicate, asking questions, but there are no further responses. Suddenly, a burst of static in their audio equipment disrupts the moment, causing them all to jump. As the static clears, a final whisper cuts through, barely audible but chilling in its message. That is the breaking point. Sarai and her team decide it's time to leave. As they make their way back to their vehicle, they can't shake the feeling that something, or someone, is still watching them from the darkness. Even as they drive away, the experience lingers heavily in their minds. Whether what they witnessed was truly paranormal or the result of an overactive imagination, one thing is clear. Something was there, and it did not want them to stay. Like you always do, let me know what you made of this. Dee's Dark Adventures is a YouTube channel dedicated to exploring eerie locations in search of paranormal and cryptid activity. In this video, Dee returns to Point Pleasant for an overnight camping trip, hoping to capture evidence of the strange occurrences reported in the area. From the moment the investigation begins, things take a disturbing turn, as unknown creatures seem to be stalking them from the shadows.
Oh man. What was that? Did you see that? There was like a smoke or something. Coming out of the woods. I don't like it. Oh god, it's so dark. And I can't get my phone to zoom out. That was a whistle. Oh, this is the worst.
As the group sets up camp, they immediately begin to notice unusual activity. A red orb appears on Dee's camera, floating near a tree marked with an X. The significance of the symbol is unknown, but its presence only adds to the unsettling atmosphere. Not long after, they begin hearing strange noises, low vibrations, indistinct whispers, and what sounds like a wolf howling in the distance. However, as far as they know, wolves are not supposed to be in this part of the region. The realization puts the group on edge. Dee decides to revisit a location where, during a previous trip, a strange white figure had been spotted moving through the woods. As they approach the area, the sense of unease intensifies. Then, a whistle cuts through the silence.
Yeah. Did that just mock you?
I heard it. I was gonna say, I gotta pull my head up. I heard him.
Do it again, please. I did it that last time you did it, mocked you. I think I got it on camera.
I might have too. It came from that way.
Yeah, down there to the left. What was that? I just had a light flash right there in the woods. I caught it on camera. I caught it. I got it. It flashed right up there in the trees. The tree frogs got quiet for a second. Hold on. Those tree frogs go out, we're screwed, dude. It's awfully cold for some tree frogs. So weird.
The sound is distant at first, but soon grows closer. Dee, now separated from the group, feels increasingly vulnerable, especially when the whistling is followed by the unmistakable sound of footsteps crunching through the underbrush. Camp is far away, and the only source of light is their flashlight, which is beginning to flicker. The fear of being watched intensifies as the investigation continues. The forest around them feels alive with activity. At one point, a strange mist drifts across the path, but when Dee turns to look, it has completely disappeared. They question whether it was just their breath in the cold air, but the way it moved seemed unnatural. Then, out of nowhere, a loud bang echoes through the trees. It's unclear where the noise came from, but the entire group hears it, and none of them can explain it. As they move further into the area, they stumble upon something even stranger.
There's clothes back here everywhere, guys. It's so weird. There's clothes everywhere.
Clothes scattered throughout the forest. There are shirts, pants, and other items, all seemingly abandoned. No one can figure out why they are there or who might have left them behind. The discovery raises even more questions. The feeling of being watched becomes overwhelming. Dee's camera catches glimpses of eyeshine in the distance, pairs of glowing eyes staring at them from the darkness. They immediately recognize the danger, and they know that whatever is out there is not friendly. things only get worse from there. A loud snapping sound breaks the silence as a tree branch appears to have been forcefully broken nearby. The tree frogs, which had been croaking all night, suddenly go silent, an ominous sign that something unnatural is in the area. As they press on, Dee spots something strange.
There's a triangle around the moon, triangles everywhere. So we got this triangle. I don't want to come in here and disturb much, but I want to look. Yeah, this was something because that was blocked. Like, you see the stick here, guys? It goes through there. It's like this used to be their path, and they blocked it off, and I'm trying to look. And then you got this triangle.
A perfectly shaped triangle made from snap branches, placed deliberately on the ground. They recall similar formations being linked to cryptid encounters, particularly those involving Sasquatch or other unknown entities. As they continue their investigation, they come across something else unsettling.
I thought it was at one point. This is so cold. Woo! Wait a minute, don't open it. There might be somebody trapped in there, dude. Why was it closed? Hello? You go in first. I don't want to catch a body on my camera. It's so quiet.
In the distance, they spot what looks like an abandoned structure. The door is slightly open, but as they approach, they realize something terrifying. It was open before, but now it is closed. No one had touched it. The realization sends chills through them. Something, whatever is out here with them, doesn't want them getting too close. Dee hesitates, but decides to push forward. The group finally decides it is time to return to camp. The fear in their voices is evident as they hurry back toward their vehicle. The feeling of being followed never goes away. By the time they reach the truck, their nerves are shot. But the night is far from over. As they begin driving away, they realize that whatever was stalking them is still nearby. They can feel its presence, watching them from the tree line. As the video comes to an end, Dee reflects on the night's events. The strange voices, the eerie whistling, the howls that shouldn't exist, and the feeling of being followed all point to one thing. Something unnatural lurks in these woods. Whatever it is, it's intelligent, it's watching. Dee knows this won't be their last trip to Point Pleasant, but one thing is certain. Something out there does not want them coming back. Mandog Wild is a YouTube channel that documents outdoor survival, wild camping, and adventures in remote locations. In this video, uploaded on November 15th, 2024, the host sets out on a solo tent camping trip with his loyal dog Yeti. What starts as a routine exploration of caves and geological formations in a mountainous region quickly turns into an unsettling experience. From the start, the journey is physically demanding.
Well, it's just going to be the area where we pitch our tent for the night. It's not too bad. It's relatively flat. There's a few divots, but it's fine. Quite a pig to get in here today. Just everywhere's just caked in crown of thorns. So yeah, it was quite a battle.
The terrain is steep, covered in thick vegetation, and littered with dangerous crown of thorns bushes. The host battles through the harsh environment, struggling to navigate the steep slopes while ensuring Yeti stays close. Despite the challenge, they push forward, reaching a set of caves he had previously spotted from a distance.
So this is okay. It just wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it at all.
However, upon closer inspection, the caves turn out to be far less impressive than expected. Small, unremarkable openings in the rock that weren't worth the grueling trek. As they make their way back to camp, the exhaustion begins to set in. Yeti, usually full of energy, seems unusually subdued. Rather than eagerly exploring, She stays unnaturally close to her owner, moving cautiously through the landscape. The host notices her behavior but doesn't think much of it at the time. Once back at their campsite, they settle in, with Yeti resting while her owner surveys the area. Among the scattered rocks and formations, he notices something odd: white mineral deposits running through the stones, forming distinct veins.
So just down a hill here from our little camp, we have all these big old rocks here. And when you look at them in the right rays of the sun, you can see them kind of glistening. And then I noticed these things here, and I believe, are these called veins? Are they veins? Something along those lines. I don't know. Someone tell me what this could be in the comment section, and tell me I can make a lot of money from it. The other interesting thing about it is this up here. Solid. Hollow. I don't know what it could be.
Unsure of what they are, he asks his viewers to leave a comment if they recognize the material. As the sun sets, the landscape is bathed in an eerie silence. There are no birds, no insects, just an overwhelming stillness. The absence of sound is unsettling, making the forest feel lifeless. Yeti remains uncharacteristically quiet, resting beside the tent rather than patrolling the area like she normally would. The host takes note of the strange atmosphere but ultimately dismisses it, focusing instead on setting up for the night. With no gas to cook, he relies on pre-prepared food, a simple meal of pasta and tuna mayonnaise stored in a plastic container. As he eats, he can't shake the feeling that something is off. The nearby hills, now cast in deep shadow, seem ominous. But with Yeti showing no signs of concern, he convinces himself that there's nothing to worry about. As the night deepens, the full moon provides an unusual amount of illumination. The host notes that it's so bright he could navigate the entire mountain without a flashlight. The clear visibility should have been comforting, but instead, it only amplifies the eerie stillness of the environment. Yeti remains curled up, unusually disinterested in her surroundings. Then, something changes.
Yeti, let's go. Good girl, Yeti. Good girl. I heard footsteps from a person.
The host hears what sounds like footsteps approaching the tent. At first, he assumes it might be an animal, but the distinct pattern of the sound suggests otherwise. The steps are deliberate, slow, steady, and undeniably human-like. He listens carefully, trying to pinpoint their direction. The sound seems to be coming from the lower part of the hill, gradually moving closer. He looks over at Yeti, expecting her to react, but to his shock, she remains completely still, seemingly unbothered by the noise. This is out of character for her. Normally, she is highly alert and protective. The fact that she is so calm either means there's nothing to be afraid of, or something is seriously wrong. The footsteps continue, getting closer until they stop just outside the tent. Silence follows. The host holds his breath, straining to hear any further movement, but there is nothing. No retreating footsteps, no rustling, just an unsettling stillness. He cautiously unzips the tent and peers outside, scanning the area in the moonlight. There's no sign of anyone. The dry grass around the tent is undisturbed, with no footprints visible. Confused and uneasy, he lays back down, trying to rationalize what just happened. He convinces himself that it could have been his imagination, or perhaps a natural sound distorted by the silence of the night. Eventually, he manages to fall asleep. By morning, everything seems normal.
Came out here this morning, seeing if there's any tracks. No tracks. It's not the type of ground to leave tracks. But yeah, I don't even know if it was, maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe it was just an animal, huh?
He steps outside to look for any sign of movement from the night before, but once again, there are no tracks. No indication that anything had been there. Yeti, still acting strangely, refuses to eat her breakfast. Instead, she spends the morning digging holes, a habit she occasionally does but is now doing obsessively. The host wonders if she had sensed something in the night, something she chose to ignore, rather than confront. As he reflects on the events of the night, he acknowledges that strange things happen in the wilderness all the time. He has spent years camping in remote locations and has witnessed plenty of unexplained occurrences, but this one feels different. The clarity of the footsteps, their deliberate approach, and the sudden silence when they reached his tent, it all feels too real to ignore. While he tries to brush it off with logical explanations, the unease lingers. Whether it was an animal, a trick of the mind, or something more mysterious, one thing is certain: the experience will stay with him. Good Bloke Outdoors is a YouTube channel dedicated to solo camping and survival in extreme conditions. In this video, the YouTuber embarks on one of his most challenging wild camping experiences yet, facing relentless rain, freezing temperatures, and wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour. The journey begins with a long and grueling hike up the mountain. As he gains elevation, the wind intensifies, making each step more difficult. At one point, he struggles to even open a gate due to the force of the wind.
I was actually struggling to open that gate then. The wind behind that wall sounds absolutely ruthless. Wow! Jesus Christ! So we just got to the little scramble section. Luckily we're getting a bit of protection from this side of the mountain. You can see the grip point. Come on! Oh, this shelter's going to be my best friend this afternoon. I am not exaggerating when I say that's probably my hardest hike so far. That last mile then, just fighting with the wind.
Visibility is close to zero, with thick fog and relentless rain obscuring the landscape. Each step forward feels like a battle against the elements. Even though he's done numerous solo camps before, he admits that this may be one of his most challenging trips yet. As he nears the summit, the conditions become even more extreme. The wind is howling through the valleys, creating an eerie and unsettling atmosphere. Despite the challenge, he pushes forward, knowing that once he reaches the top, he can begin setting up his campsite. Finally, he spots the summit marker, a small sign of relief amidst the chaos of the storm. But he doesn't have time to rest. Finding the right place to set up his tent is now his top priority. He carefully considers the wind direction before choosing a relatively sheltered spot near a stone wall. While this offers some protection, he knows it won't be enough to completely shield him from the powerful gusts. With the wind still howling around him, he works quickly to set up his tent. He secures it with heavy-duty delta pegs, ensuring it won't get blown away in the middle of the night. Even so, the constant battering of the wind makes the task difficult, and he has to be extra careful with every step. Once the tent is secured, he begins the painstaking process of changing out of his soaked clothes while trying to keep the interior dry. Outside, the storm continues to rage, with no sign of letting up. The relentless wind rattles the tent fabric, making it feel as though it could collapse at any moment. He admits that sleep is unlikely given the extreme conditions. Instead, he hunkers down in his sleeping bag, layering up for warmth, and tries to relax while watching videos on his phone. The noise from the storm is deafening, and he braces himself for a long night ahead. Despite the brutal weather, he decides to prepare a hot meal. Using his Jetboil stove and a lightweight camping skillet, he cooks salmon and broccoli. The pan is still covered in burnt residue from his last trip, which he jokes about as he struggles to clean it. Cooking in these conditions is no easy task, as the wind constantly threatens to blow out his flame. But after some effort, he manages to prepare his meal. The salmon is slightly overcooked, but he doesn't mind. Having hot food in such extreme conditions is a victory in itself. After eating, he checks the tent's stability. The wind seems to be getting even stronger, and he knows that if anything comes loose, he'll have to brave the storm to fix it. He debates stepping outside, but ultimately decides against it. The gusts are so powerful that he risks getting knocked over. Instead, he double-checks his gear and secures everything inside the tent. He acknowledges that this may be one of the longest nights of his life. As the hours pass, he attempts to sleep but struggles against the constant noise and shaking of the tent. He layers up with multiple hoods and even wears headphones to try and muffle the sound. He knows that the forecast predicted high winds, but experiencing it firsthand is something else entirely. Each gust feels like a wave of force pressing against him, making it impossible to fully relax. He wonders how much worse it might get before morning.
Wow. This is the strongest wind I've experienced so far in solo. It is 7 AM, so I'm going to start packing up. It could take a while to get this tent down. Sunrise is about 20 past 8-ish. Not like we're going to get one, but I mean it'll start getting light around then.
By 7 AM, he knows it's time to start packing up. The storm has not let up, making it extremely difficult to dismantle his tent. He works carefully, ensuring that none of his gear gets blown away in the process. With the lack of visibility and the extreme conditions, every movement has to be deliberate. Sunrise is approaching, though with the heavy fog and storm conditions, there will be little to see. As he makes his way back down the mountain, he encounters something unexpected.
Get worse than this, the wind?
Yeah.
Alright. Should be alright, shouldn't we really?
Keep held on.
Okay.
He has.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Can't believe I just seen some more people. Try to get up there in this. Crazy.
Other hikers attempting to ascend in the extreme weather. He can't believe his eyes. The wind is still strong enough to knock a person off balance, and yet people are still attempting the climb. He wishes them luck, but knows that the descent will be just as challenging as the hike up. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, he reaches his car. The sense of relief is immediate. He reflects on the experience, acknowledging that the night was brutal, with some of the strongest winds he has ever faced while camping. But despite the challenge, he considers the trip a success. It was a true test of endurance, resilience, and preparation. He signs off the video with a simple message: sometimes pushing yourself to the limit is what makes the best adventures. And with that, I'll take your leave. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, let me know your thoughts on this video. Even criticisms are appreciated. Don't forget to check out more disturbing videos that will be on your screen in about 3 seconds. I'm out.